Hey guys, Jim here from DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. Every once in a while we like to take a look at card games, so today we're going to look at Enemy Weapon, the ass-kicking party game of ridiculous combat. Before I get started, I just want to give a quick shout out to Vito Gesualdi. He's the guy who created this game. He's a comedian, he's a YouTuber, he's a Twitch streamer. You might know his work as the guy who bashed The Last Jedi to nearly 9 million views, or the guy who pissed off the entire internet by vaping Belle Delphine's bathwater. So, yeah, with a mind like that behind this game, you know it's going to be interesting. Released in 2019, Enemy Weapon is the result of a Kickstarter that started in 2018 and reached its goal of over $10,000. The first thing you notice when you look at this box is just how high quality it is. The cardboard on it feels really sturdy, and it's covered in this matte canvas wrapping that is just, it has a nice design on it, all the text is very nice and clean on it, looks like a real professional product. When you look at the back of the box, it gives you a little rundown of the game, little idea, tells you how long to expect it, made by a Kickstarter, and of course, it's covered in jokes, so you even have a joke where the barcode would be. When you open up the box, the first thing you're going to see is all this text around the side of the box. And on top of the box is the rules. The rules are also printed all around the box, which is kind of a cool idea, especially if down the line you wind up losing the rule book. I mentioned it with Humor Me, I'm going to say it here. There is a lot of text in this rule book. It completely covers the 4 pages of the book in small text. And all this text, it's intimidating, but luckily it's not all necessary. You don't have a ton of terms you need to learn, you don't have a ton of rules really. On the first page he tells you how to play, and then the other 3 pages are just him giving you different examples of how to manipulate all the cards. Whether it's the enemy cards, whether it's the weapon cards, and really just to try to lead the judge along with how his mindset should be. After the first page, you really don't need the rest of the text, but he's really trying to hammer home the idea that this is a game that is based on creativity. So, quick rundown of how to play. You shuffle the weapons decks, you shuffle the enemy decks, you randomly pick one person to start off as the judge, and then you can go in whatever order you want after that. You're going to need at least 3 players. If it's between 3 to 5 players, basically everyone gets to play, and if it's 6 or more, then it gets a little dicey. So the judge sits there and he flips over the enemy card. Then, all the different warriors around the table have to throw down their weapon cards. So if there's 3 to 5 players overall, then everyone gets to play. But if there's 6 or more, then the judge picks the 3 weapon cards that he likes the best, and then the players all have to duke it out. It's not like Cards Against Humanity, where you just try to match up the right card with the main objective card. No. The point of this game is to come up with a story, come up with a narrative. Try to come up with a real story about how your weapon card can be the thing to do your goal that is on the enemy card. Say the enemy is Hitler, and the goal is to kill Hitler, and you get a magical saxophone as your weapon. Well, you have to craft this magical story that can wind up not even just straight up killing Hitler, because if the card says to kill Hitler and you kill him, that's way too easy. You have to come up with some outlandish, wacky stuff, and that's what all the players have to do. So they'll all be debating back and forth, coming up with these stories and trying to sell their story to the judge to pick it. The judge will pick the story that he thinks is the best, that person wins the card, and the first person to win 3 of these cards wins. So one thing I love about this game is just, I like the humor that's written on these cards. The cards themselves are funnier and as much of a joke as the conversations you're going to have. And it's more than just putting edgy stuff together for the sake of being edgy. Yeah, it's edgy, but it's not just like, ha ha ha, black people. Like you actually have to use your brain behind it, and that goes for both the enemy cards and the weapon cards, so the entire game is just very witty. The cards are nice, and they actually come in a high quality. Kinda goes for that Cards Against Humanity, very simple text on plain backgrounds, even though there's a little bit more color than you would get with a lot of these other games, so you can differentiate between the enemy cards and the weapon cards. The colors reverse themselves. And I mention it with some other card games, but I always like it more when the cards have some kind of visuals on them, whether it's a little pattern, whether it's a little graphic, something to really just make it pop out, but I understand that that would cost way more money, so I know why a bunch of these guys don't do it. But when they also don't do it, it's very easy to lump these cards into just another Cards Against Humanity clip. I will say that overall, just with the presentation in the box, everything just looks very clean, it looks very sturdy. It looks like a game that can hold up the beer being spilled on it, kids trying to rip it apart, stuff like that. It's definitely not cheaply made, It definitely has that real professional. It's something that could have been made by Milton Bradley. It looks way better than your typical Kickstarter fanfare. Kudos to Vito for really putting his foot down and trying to come up with a real quality product here. So, at the end of the day, what do I think of Enemy Weapon? I think it's a really cool game, and I think it's a cool idea. But it's got a big caveat to it. You need to play with people who are creative. You need to play with your friends who are a little more, out there. If you play with straight up normies or, maybe mom and dad, unless they're kind of messed up, might not be the game to bring your family around together for. But if your parents are just out there and they turn you into a mess that you are as an adult, then this is going to be a perfect tight game to bring the family together. It really just depends on who you play with, because it's got a big barrier to entry in the fact that it's just based around creativity. It's based around shit talking. It's based around, it's not like Cards Against Humanity where, oh, you plop down this card. Oops, I'm racist now. Oh, that's funny. You win. It's not like that. You really have to put a lot of thought into it. And for a page that's also centered on drinking like we are, this is perfect. Because let's face it, if you're like us, or if everyone has those buddies or those drunken nights where you just sit around, you get hammered and you play who would win in this fight, or you just come up with dumb scenarios, or, would you F this person over this person, or what would it take? So there's always stipulations in those kind of games, and this is perfect for that mindset. Sit around with your buddies, have a few beers, get the juices flowing, and just let your creativity flow with this. So let's get down to the big thing, the price. It's $30 for 400 cards, and if you buy it from Killdozer Industries himself, he throws in the extra 15 bonus cards that were the Kickstarter stretch goals. So $30, you get 415 cards, which is pretty good considering that a standard pack of Cards Against Humanity is basically $20 to $25, and you get way more cards in this pack, so you definitely get your money's worth out of this as far as that goes. Also, if you enjoyed the game, make sure you head over to BoardGameGeek.com. Link will be below. Find Enemy Weapon on there and leave a review. Leave a good review so it can just push it higher on the page so we can get more eyes on it, get the word out there, and help Vito out. That'll do it for today, guys. As always, if you enjoyed this video, leave a like below. Comment if you're interested in this game, if you've played other games of this similar vein. What do you think about these games, and if this is a product that you think you'd have some fun with? And as always, if you have not yet, why not subscribe? It really helps the channel. So, make sure to check the links to our other videos where we have video game reviews, hardware reviews, and we are the home of the Power Hour podcast, which is also on iTunes. Until next time, guys. Cheers.